expect to be enlightened, inspired, so that we can carry on and be better people or educated people in the community that we live in.
Why did you come along, Joe?
I read it on the newspaper and I heard it in the wireless. So I wanted to see what's going on.
Oh, so it really sort of piqued your interest, did it?
That's right. Well, I'm interested to see what goes on in the area.
Thank you.
I'm actually here because I'm interested in local community engagement, and that forms part of my job, which is trying to connect business with community and trying to help business realise that it's a financial equation as much as a do-good equation. So I have a pretty open mind about what I'm going to get out of tonight, and I'm really looking forward to hearing some great discussion without the politics.
Throughout Australia and much of the Western democratic world, ignorance, apathy, disillusionment and hostility towards governments and political processes is widespread. Australia's system of government is based on representative democracy. We vote at elections and choose representatives to make decisions on our behalf. At following elections, we either reward them by voting them back or punish them by voting them out.
What I expect out tonight, well, it's something new. They're looking at to encourage people to get involved in politics instead of the other way around. You should be told what to think and what to say, and I don't like that idea one little bit. So it's just something different and interesting.
Leanne, can you tell us why you came and what you expect that you'll get out of this?
Well, I came because I got an invite in the mail because I'm a part of the Shoalhaven Youth Committee. I've just always had a large interest in politics, and what drew me here was pretty much the fact that something so close to home, grassroots democracy in Nowra, it just doesn't happen here, so I just, had to come.
I haven't been active for a little while, and I just thought it would be interesting to come to something that's not political party based and that connects to the broader community.
But people like to be taken seriously, to play a meaningful role more than just at elections. The Grassroots Public Forum was intended to start a community-wide conversation about citizen participation, democracy and local possibility. The forum aimed to be stimulating, entertaining and memorable. It was open to all and widely publicised. It was held on a Wednesday night in September 2011. 110 people turned up to the Nowra School of Arts, playing their part as active citizens.
It's indeed a pleasure for me tonight and an honour to do the welcome to country, and I'm very, very proud to do so. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the traditional custodians of the land on which we are now meeting. I'd like to pay my respects to my people, past and present, and I'd like to acknowledge any of my people who are in this forum tonight, and in particular the non-Aboriginal people who are here and who invited me to do this. I think through reconciliation and meetings of free speech and a voice, maybe we'll go forward through reconciliation.
Please remember, the focus of the forum is local democracy. It's not about politics. This is not an opportunity to focus on a personal issue of your own. It's a celebration of ideas. Everybody here is a very important person. And it's significant to sort of think about that kind of, how do you get to have a voice in that process?
The forum presented 3 speakers, each expert in their fields of community engagement and alternative democratic models at the local level. But people weren't expected to just swallow what was presented to them. Far from it.
After hearing the speakers, in a series of small group discussions, you have the opportunity to weigh up the ideas you've heard.
How can we do it any differently? And in particular, given that we have a representative government system, how can grassroots democracy, or how can a thing called deliberation done by average citizens make a difference to how we go about working out what's important and how decisions are made? We need to have sophisticated conversations that can actually inform what kind of decisions are made and how they could be made in a thoughtful way. Alana McTiernan, former Minister for Planning and Infrastructure in Western Australia. Interesting lady, a bit of a maverick. She said, "My concern is that we're increasingly functioning in a climate where making good decisions becomes very difficult. The media wants clear black and whites. They want big headlines, little words. It wants dramatic divergence. It wants outrage."
Max gave the example of a council in Victoria that had come under fire from disability groups because old trees along a major street were affecting the pavement, making footpaths difficult and dangerous to use. The council's first response was to cut the trees down, but that caused a commotion. And until the community was asked what should be done to allow everyone to access and enjoy the street, the community plan was to make the street one way, with a new space for wheelchairs, prams, and keeping the trees, at about 1/10 of the cost of the original plan.
Can I now introduce Ian Walker, Executive Director of the New Democracy Foundation. This organisation explores alternative democratic models which are less adversarial and more representative.
And if you have a sense of frustration and a sense of challenge, you actually have the capacity to act. Because the first changes that occur won't occur in federal parliament. They'll be challenging to have occur in state parliament. The chance of something occurring is that the best chance is at a local government level. Firstly, random selection is one idea to start to have washing around your head. On relatively small numbers, you start to get very much a descriptive representation. And by that I mean you get a group that actually looks like the people you're going to see every day in society. You will get a mix by ethnicity, gender, outlook, occupation, wealth. People tend not to like politicians. It's a little unfair because, again, as Max alluded to, we see it not as a personality problem, it's a structural problem. You can't think you can vote in different people and get a different result. If the problem is you think people fight like cats in a sack, you don't think, oh, I'll put in different cats. It's a ridiculous way to start to approach the problem. The problem is the sack.
Ian gave an example of a council that had collected developer levies over some years and had several $1 million to spend. Different councillors representing different areas had different views, which were either develop a road by the beach or rejuvenate a shopping centre. A random panel of 32 citizens was formed with the original intention of asking the citizens to decide which of these two projects to fund. But when the question was broadened and citizens were asked what should be done, they didn't support either of the two original ideas, but recommended spending $150,000 on an oval and banking the rest. Not surprisingly, public trusted confidence was higher here than many other council decisions.
There are some fundamental problems with local government that bedevil us today, and which are not good for democracy. I won't go into them all, but I do want to talk about planning, because planning is where most people get most of their angst about their local council and the state government.
John says the planning system is designed to manage conflict, but actually exacerbates it because it's designed in the wrong way. Planning is complex and very difficult for most people to understand. When a development proposal is presented in a public meeting and people are asked what they think, it's an invitation for negativity and aggression. Likewise, the format of council meetings is the wrong process for considering individual development applications. John says there has to be a better way, and he gave an example of a council he has worked with.
There has to be a better way. And so we set up an independent panel, the members of whom are lawyers and architects and planners and environmentalists and a local community person. And they don't live in the area, and you don't know who they're going to be on the night. And they come in and they conduct a proper conversation with everyone. Then they go away that night and write out 2 or 3 or 4 pages of reasons why they think how the application should be dealt with, and then that goes to council and they don't hold any hearing. councillors don't hold any hearing, but they still have a say. And that seems to be working marvellously in almost all the councils that have been brought into. State government didn't want it, but the councils have brought it in, and it has taken an enormous amount of heat out of the DA process and out of the brawls that go on between councillors, because it's over DAs and rezonings that most councils come apart.
Most people find it easier to participate and learn in small groups, and this method, known as World Cafe, gives people the opportunity to have 3 in-depth conversations with a group of 5 or 6 people in about 45 minutes.
Your guide is you're going to share your thoughts, to be curious, to listen carefully, respect differences and have fun. We're not just going to talk about democracy, we're inviting you to do democracy here.
Be a majority because of the majority. But a huge amount. That's involving
It's like the you go to the court and look at the jury. It's the same problem.
It has been said that participation is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it withers away. But if you use it regularly, it grows strong. After the small group discussions, people were invited to share their big ideas, any changes they wanted to see, or what they were worried about.
We all talked a lot about the adversarial system based on the parliamentary decision-making model, and that we really had to end that. That really, the way that what we've heard from the speakers and we've heard from the community is we're not quite sure how to do it yet, but ending, in a big sentence, ending the adversarial parliamentary decision-making model by encouraging cooperative and consensus-based decentralised decision-making involving community, particularly looking at community solutions to problems that we've all decided, that the community have decided is a problem, not that they've been informed is a problem. Getting the staff input into how that solution can be created, and then councillors and politicians facilitating the community needs, not dictating them.
We thought that the use of the we'd like to see trial the use of randomly selected group for better solving community issues.
One of the issues we've spoken to is the problem associated with random groups is how do you get in-depth information to the groups? Okay.
Quite clearly, people hadn't just accepted the information that was presented to them. They weighed it up, looked at the pros and cons, and identified issues that concerned them.
Because bluntly, you don't have donors to be happy. You don't have to worry about your media profile. You don't have to worry about how the polling's going. So I actually think the random group can consume information better and with more time than an elected group.
Congratulations, everybody. What I want you to do is I want you to clap yourselves. Clap yourselves.
Leda, how did you find this in? Did you find...
I found it interesting to see how many people had showed up and to actually see how people would become engaged and also the type of discussion that people actually had. I think there was some very positive feelings, that there was a feeling had more power than they thought they had.
There was also an implication that those people who are interested in protecting their own backyards, I'm not sure the word NIMBY was used, but they were described as enraged and articulate. There was an implication that they were a part of the problem, not a part of the process, and that they were dismissed. And I disagree with that, because if you're not passionate about your own backyard, then perhaps you don't own your own backyard.
And I found the evening most enjoyable, and just getting together with people and discussing ideas and ways things can change. And the basic questions, the basic things most people were prompted to say was that just asking the right question is such a simple and basic starting point for any conflict resolution or decision making, and I think that was a very important thing to take away from tonight.
I wasn't really anticipating anything. I just came because I'm passionate about grassroots democracy, and I liked the format. I really like the focus group approach, which is similar to this.
It's been a great session. I think the speakers were really good. They gave a really broad range of ideas, and some that were totally new to me. And that's the best thing you can do, is come out with some new ideas, and particularly around the idea of, I guess, greater community involvement in planning and management decisions, and how some of those things have worked in other parts of Australia and overseas was quite inspiring and quite informative. So I've loved it, and I hope to come to another one.
The forum met one of its aims by being stimulating, entertaining and memorable. People have shown support for greater participation. They do want to play an active and meaningful role. But change won't just happen. It takes nurturing. The Grassroots Forum took place in the New South Wales regional city of Nowra, but the idea and issues are relevant anywhere. If you think this matters, then use this DVD to start a conversation about local democracy with your friends, family and workmates. See where it takes you.